Here we go. Or would it be better to just do it like that? Nah. Do the full screen. All right. Hopefully we get some banger news about the Edge of Fate in less than 1 minute, chat. I use my clothesline to dry my laundry. Old-fashioned, I approve. Approved. Excellent argument. Approved. Come on, start right at 1 o'clock. Right on time. Come on. Here we go. Yes. Oh, trailer right off the bat. Let's go. There's Orin. Us going to
Kepler's
Kepler.
a place touched by the Nine, concealing a lot of secrets and danger. And it's somewhere that human scientists traveled to a long time ago to research a dormant singularity. While living on Kepler, not only did they observe the collapse, they survived it.
That's sick. Mysteries of Kepler.
And over time, the ideals of the scientific process they held to were enshrined in their culture, and they came to be known as the Ionians.
The Ionians.
The Elixni House of Exile arrived during the Dark Age, weary from the Long Drift. They didn't invade Earth with the other Elixni houses. Instead, they sought a new home, which they found alongside the Ionians. But the dark matter that permeates Kepler and that they converted into the ether they need to survive ended up being toxic. So when the Ionians failed to cure them, the house rose up under an archon claiming to be blessed with prophetic sight.
By the Giver,
Now,
maybe?
The House of Exile is full of zealots. And they'll stand opposed to the Guardian as they walk the winding pathways of Kepler, learning more about what called them there in the first place. Guardian's paracausal power acts as a catalyst for the normally corrosive force of dark matter. These new powers will allow them to unlock long-sealed passageways for the Ionians as they make their way to the singularity at the core of the planetoid.
So from the start, we focused on building Kepler as more of a dungeon-like destination. It expands on the interconnected world design of places like...
Damn, it's got several layers.
As you fight your way across Kepler, you tap into dark matter abilities and unlock enemy tech that expands your navigation and aids you in combat.
Okay.
These are all about going places you would normally think are out of reach.
Matterspark has you turn into this wild ball of arc energy. It's like nothing we've done in Destiny before. The Mattermorph ability lets you twist the objects in the world around
You know that's going to be all over the raid.
With Relocator, you've essentially co-opted the Fallen's teleportation networks and can use it to cross gaps you wouldn't have even considered before.
It'll be the small tells, an open vent, a broken window, things you want to remember because you might be revisiting them later.
Abilities can be upgraded, so as you unlock new perks, you can chain them into your build crafting in clever ways.
By far, the most game-changing is one of Matterspark's upgrades. On Kepler, it lets you turn into Matterspark the same way you'd summon a sparrow, wherever and whenever.
Oh, wow. So you can turn into that ball anytime you want.
But also combat on future playthroughs in super creative ways. There are tons of cool combinations. You can suspend an enemy with Mattermorph, bend a path up toward the sky, and then in mid-air, leap into Matterspark to dash across the arena and arc chain a group of enemies.
The team has already seen players pairing abilities with different exotic perks and aspects to create some really crazy builds.
We know this is only the beginning and can't wait to see what happens once players get their hands on this kit.
So Arc's gonna be busted? Oh. Okay. Okay, they showed us this. Oh, here we go.
All right. Hello, welcome to Bungie.
Why is it so
and
dark?
Welcome to our Destiny 2 Edge of Fate live stream. This will be the first live stream that we have leading into launch. Big shout out to the folks that we had on our Dev Insight video. We were just talking about Kepler, destination abilities, some of the secrets of Kepler and the Aeonians, but we're going to leave that for a later date for you to discover.
Okay.
Today we're going to be talking a bunch about Sandbox. We have a bunch of core feature updates with Armor 3.0, gear tiering, some new loot for you to grind out, and a bunch of cool things to show. So without further ado, let's get to it. We have a wonderful panel of developers on our couch. Some of them are new, some of them you've seen before. But yeah, let's start out with Eric. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for asking, Dylan.
There's the Lost Sector guy.
For folks that maybe haven't seen you on a previous live stream where you've talked about burst weapons and all the cool ability stuff, who are you? What do you do?
Sure. I'm Eric Smith, gameplay lead on Destiny 2, and I'm excited to dive into our sandbox changes.
Awesome.
Woohoo.
Vivian, hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream format. We've seen you on Vidocs from time to time, but yeah, for folks that haven't met you, seen you on our Vidocs. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm Vivian Bex. I'm a sandbox designer on Destiny. I get the privilege of making like a lot of the toys that players get to use, you know, like weapons and stuff. Recently, I've kind of been all over the sandbox team, and I have some very exciting stuff to show today. I'm really excited.
Man. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. And last but not least, end of the couch, Bjorn. Taylor Bjorndal. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be
Who
here.
are you? What do you do?
Who
here,
are
buddy?
you?
Taylor Bjorndal, associate weapons designer, sandbox designer. I've also bounced around and done a lot of stuff. Excited to talk about all of the million things we changed.
Yeah, right. I think the last time we had you on the couch, we were talking grid skipper roles and things like that.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah. So as we're diving into this, we have quite a bit to go through in the show. And to start, we're actually going to be in the shooting range. We're going to have our gameplay specialist going through, showing you some of the new weapons, some of the new ability or exotics that are going to be coming. But this will be playing in the background. You'll see them tuning a couple different enemies.
Yo, what's up,
playing
Tolls?
around, damage types, that kind of stuff. To start with our panel, though, let's talk.
Turn it
Armor
down just a
3.0.
little.
Eric, if we can talk about like where did we start with ammo? Where was it back in the day? Where are we going?
Firing
What's the vision
range.
for our changes?
Yeah, so when Destiny 2 launched, we had armor in the game, but there were 3 stats. There were no mods available. And then with Shadowkeep, we hit armor 2.0, where we added 3 additional stats for a total of 6, and armor mods as well. And this is the next evolution for the new
Super
saga of Destiny
class
2.
weapons.
In
Oh, weapons have a stat
3.0,
too.
We are adding, or we're reworking the stats.
Interesting.
We're adding set bonuses, and we are adding gear tiers as well.
Yeah.
And the kind of the goals
Yeah,
with
if I
Armor
remember
3.0.
correctly, it
So
takes in place of
one,
mobility.
we want to make armor more exciting and desirable. When's the last time you saw a purple armor drop and you were, thrilled to go pick it up and see what was inside? And then we want to rework the stats to make sure no stat is left behind, no stat feels mandatory, and give you further depth
Mobility is now weapons.
in your
Gotta go
armor
fast.
goals, essentially.
Yeah, and then an underlying goal as well that I've seen you execute upon and the team really is approachability. There are a lot of new UI tools.
We're gonna be
where
spending
you're
a
covering
lot
up
of time at the
stats,
firing
all that kind of
range.
stuff. You're seeing actual percentages. You're seeing more full descriptions for things, helping newer players or returning players get reacquainted with the sandbox of Destiny.
Yeah.
Take
in
out the
this release
barrier.
and in
Oh,
coming
did a
releases,
Strandling
we
just take
are
out the
absolutely
barrier?
Focusing on making the game easier to digest and understand what's going on. And this, looking at the
Oh, so we want to
shooting
farm high
range here
mobility
is
gear?
a great example of this, like,
Interesting.
where I can just go and see how much damage I'm doing, and test out my weapons, test out these builds, and see the actual changes that my new armor and whatnot is giving me.
Yeah, and you can load in here with a full fire team of 6 if you want to check out raid boss damage, or just come in here by yourself if you're on Discord talking friends.
Is that a rocket-propelled machine gun? Because
So let's,
he shot a
really quick
rocket
talk
out of
about
it
the
somehow.
stats. This is one of the major overhauls. A couple things are leaving, a couple things are being added. Really quick, if you could get a quick scroll through some of the
I want that bow.
Go ahead and give us.
Yeah. So we've removed some stats. We've removed resilience. We've removed recovery.
Mobility.
Yes, and mobility. So instead, starting from the top, we got health. Then we have
Oh, health is a stat too.
melee and grenade.
That's-
super class, and then our weapon stat. So this is an entirely new suite of stats. Does different things. All
Okay.
the stats now, instead of going to 100, they go to 200. So once you go above 100,
I'm excited,
you get
dude. I
an
love
additional
rocket-assisted
benefit on top of
guns,
the
for
0
sure.
to 100 benefit. And these, on the ability side, we are giving you kind of your uptime and how much energy you're getting in the 0 to 100 range. And then the 100 to 200 range, we're increasing things like damage, things like survivability, which is somewhere we've never really, gone into. And it's going to really give players more tools to customize their build. Kind of
So you could just spec in all weapon damage and do nothing else.
Just doing shit tons of grenade damage, or I could be more defensive or more weapon focused and all of this, right?
Yeah, we haven't had like a weapons stat before, and it's sometimes been you'd have like
That's exciting.
artifact to make like a true weapons build, and we've kind of pushed further into that world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we saw some questions specifically about the weapon stat and PvP. I know y'all have been balancing in the PvP, making sure this is kind of like cherry on top. It doesn't change the time to kill too much, but it's kind of like a cost balancing factor, right? If you want that extra damage, you lose out on grenades, things like that.
Sure, yeah. So if you want to go all in on weapons, like your weapons are going to be more potent than they were before.
That boss is tanky unless he's just not using. He's not losing health.
Abilities and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, he's not losing
we have
health.
done extensive
Wait,
testing to
yes,
make
he
sure
is.
We're not breaking PvP. That said,
Damn, that's a bulky
in
boss.
The first day that this comes out, the amount of hours being put into this by Genius.
To be fair, they're only doing like
is
600
dwarf what
damage.
we've done. So it's a little bit scary how much change we've actually put in this. The team's worked so hard across.
Dude, the Helion gauntlets for the Warlock and the Titan gauntlets are going to be really good with the retracting hammer.
The pre-Edge of Fate numbers and feel of the game. It really across the game we have just changed.
So it looks like he's meleeing his Helion out there.
It's not really
Maybe that's what he's doing with the
easy to compare
gauntlets.
experience of what's going to be in the next release to what people are playing right now.
Oh, that's just a fire spike. Never mind. I thought it was something different.
That quintessential feel of I got my gun, I have my abilities, but now it's how much agency do I have in?
Because with the gauntlets, Helion's supposed to travel farther.
And one of the cool things is like internally, I think the most common thing we say in like our sandbox channel now has just like emerged.
The helicopter gloves look sick. Helicopter, helicopter.
There's a lot of really specific builds you can do. Like if you want to be the melee guy, you can be the melee guy more than ever before, right? And it's. I think we're gonna see some really crazy stuff.
Speaking of embracing some of these different lanes,
Wyverns.
we actually have 3
Corsola in the chat.
with the Edge of Fate. Each class is going to get one new exotic. Each embrace a different sort of vibe.
Oh, we're gonna see the. There it is. He did have him on.
You can see him on screen.
The
I think
Ionia.
first, we're going to start with the Warlock exotic, and Bjorndal, you have all the details.
Sure. Yeah, so first we have Ionia, which is Warlock exotic themed around the Hellion aspect. What this does is after your Hellion fires, after a certain amount of time, the projectile is going to shatter into a bunch of submunitions that will like seek nearby units and scorch them, and so it kind of like adds a little bit of like skill play.
So it does like 3 shrapnels instead of 1, because it like goes out and then fans out into several.
See, like, it can be both a single target or a group sort of add clear exotic, right?
Yeah. It can kind of serve multiple roles, just kind of like a.
That'd be fun if you get radiant from it
like
too.
A trusty old tool to be something a little more that you have to like manually aim.
Yeah, and you can like because it like splits in mid-flight, you can kind of like control your spacing to like control the grouping of it.
That's kind of crazy. That just spits out that many projectiles.
They'll like burst way earlier than before. Or if you like get way back, you can just blink at a region.
Love it. Yeah, and we can see on the screen too, like some of the looks of the exotic and the Hellion have changed.
Yeah, so like while
Show us the Titan.
Exotic, the Hellion itself, like the little solar buddy, will have the same X that the gauntlets do. So it's like a nice little nod to like match the exotic.
Love it. This thing looks so metal. I'm like so about having that big gas canister on my arm. Having that like flamethrower Warlock arm is so cool. I may have to start switching play Warlock.
Love it. Next up, I believe we have Hunter on docket.
Oh, they're gonna say the Titan one for last.
Is Morai, which is a strand-themed exotic that's about your threaded spike and tangles, where you can basically like yo-yo a tangle from out in the field back in your hand and then throw it again. So the way this works is if you have a tangle out in the field, you throw your strand hunter melee at it, it'll pop the tangle and then bring one back to you that if you catch the spike, you'll get another tangle. So you can like duplicate a tangle, which works really well with a lot of Strand Hunter aspects like Whirling Maelstrom and just like the existing tie-in with like grappling to a tangle.
Oh boy.
You get like even more mobility and a lot of like add clear potential.
Okay.
And
not as
also
impressive
it
in my
will
opinion.
Return more energy when you catch it as well. So like even if you don't hit anything or you don't grab a tangle, so it helps you keep that engine going.
Yeah, you can see the strand energy attached.
Oh, I see. So anytime you interact with a tangle, it turns into shuriken.
Rewarding that like.
No, that's from that one aspect, isn't it?
I can already hear people yelling "spin to win" as they're spamming these things, right?
Yeah, I mean you can
Spin
have
to
3
win.
blades out in the field at any time, essentially.
Rust and
Like
shurikens.
zipping between the tangles with grapple, it's
Yeah.
cool as hell.
It's very strong. It's also going to be very strong with this artifact
Oh, yes.
upcoming, which we'll talk
He
about.
melees the tangle.
Another cool tidbit about this is it will the threaded spike will bounce to the tangle from enemies as well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's something that has a lot of easy use and really rewards skill at the same time.
Yeah, I think before we move on to Titans, and sorry, Titans, we'll get to you in a second.
Yes.
Really cool exotic. I do want to talk about Gambler's Dodge. In the last TWID, we talked about a bunch of abilities changes, exotic tuning, that kind of stuff. And we saw some chatter around Gambler's Dodge. It was updated and reworked, right?
Yeah, we have reworked Gambler's Dodge. So it's the energy you get when you dodge now scales on your melee stat, but you no longer have to dodge near enemies to get that energy. So I can dodge anywhere in the game. I don't have to worry about this invisible circle that's around me to know if I'm close enough. It is going to feel more consistent. If I build into melee, it's going to feel more powerful. There's also, Taylor, you were talking about the multiple charges, right?
So if you, like our bar for a lot of this stuff is if you are at 70 stat, you'll get the full refund like you used to. But if you go beyond that, you'll actually get a little bit more, which most of the time doesn't matter. But like if you're using like a Phineas Bathe or any of the multi-melee things or Stasis Shurikens, it'll go up to like 1 1/3 charges. So you can keep that going even better if you're fully invested in melee. So you have like more reasons like to invest in it. If you want more melees, you want them to be more damaging, then you just go all in on that, and it will still do
like just so many shurikens.
Yeah.
Just an embarrassment of shurikens.
which is great. Like
Freeze everything in front of you. right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I want the
Then
hand
I won't be
cannon.
bothering you and saying, don't kill this
Stasis
thing,
and
let
arc.
me do my dodge.
Yeah,
anytime.
you can just do it wherever you want.
So yeah, let's go on to Titans. So this one thematically.
Here we go.
For me, at least, I'm just like, you're a Forge Master.
Yeah. So this is Melis Panoplia, which is an
A hard
exotic
name to say.
Yeah.
As we get deeper into Destiny, the name.
Melis Panoplia.
Yeah, but go ahead.
It's it's an exotic themed around something that people have been asking for a long time, which is kind of the fantasy of Thor's hammer. I want to be able to pull my hammer back to me after I throw it. So there's like a little minigame loop here where you get a fire sprite, you pick it up, then you get a buff that lets you pull the hammer back to you. And if you pull the hammer back with good timing, it'll explode. And
Oh, dude, that is gonna be so good.
Extra damage on the way back.
Dude.
I like how hammer saw works, and I think the hammer also will damage things
Chat.
on the return trip too. So if
I'm
you
maining a Titan.
position yourself well, you can actually like send it
Holy
back
shit,
through
man.
and back. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we've wanted to do this for a long time, but it's been.
And there's so many ways to get fire spites too.
It's hard to balance this sort of thing where it's like it returns all your energy, but it also you can pull it back to you at any time. So Alex, our designer, really knocked it out of the park as far as
It came out so well.
the balance.
I
and
love
the
it.
Activator and the.
So who's maining a solar Titan,
We're
chat?
talking about the animation, right?
Yeah.
Before this.
I love the performance on this thing. We've got like this beat where it's like all this magnetic like handshaking. It feels so good. We actually did like a new tech thing on this where if you're like looking off to the side,
It's got good
we
aim,
kinda
too.
move the player's hand a little bit, so you're like still
Almost like
pulling
honing
the
hammers.
hammer. And
Me
it's, like,
too,
the
Pidgey. I
first
can't
time
wait.
We've done that with like a world object,
Bam!
and it's very cool. It feels really good.
Awesome.
It's super
Nice shot.
I think so. We're going to be getting into some more gameplay and an actual activity in a minute. But before we go, I do want to ask for stats. And actually, two things. With your exotics, there are going to be gear bonuses that you can build on top of, correct? And that's a new Armor 3.0 feature.
Yeah.
Oh?
So gear bonuses when a new armor set drops. If you have 2 or more pieces from that armor set, you will get an additional perk. If you have 4 or more pieces from that armor set, you will get.
Joe, do
another
I
perk
know
on
when
top
the
of that.
reward's acquired?
So I could take
Go
2,
to your
pieces from
your
one set, 2
Twitch
pieces from
rewards.
another set,
It'll
and
be
then an
sent to your
exotic.
kiosk
And I have,
or
like,
your collections, and you'll get it
more
from that.
perks than I've ever had before on my Guardian, and it's really enables you to expand your build crafting in new ways.
Yeah, I
makes
think
it
we have an example of this in the build right now. If gameplay specialist could
Is the
inspect
drop
an armor
on?
piece. You can see, yeah, here's some of the destination armor bonuses that you can get.
Yeah, so at 2 pieces we have Force Converter.
Okay, yeah.
At 4
Earn
pieces, we
Bungie
have
rewards by
Reactor Booster. And
the
sorry, go for it.
details.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, so yeah, these are unique to the armor set itself. Something more than just like cosmetics that you might want out of these.
All rewards earned
another reason
require
to,
claiming.
like,
Claim it while you are
specific
watching the
place
stream
in
or
your
claim it later on
specific
Drops
besides
inventory
just
page on
fashion. Although
Twitch.
fashion is still very
Although
important.
You can
Very
still
important.
use your armor synthesis
yeah.
of what the looks.
R-dubs, there'll be a
Yeah,
drop
and,
box
I mean, we
that you
also can make
click,
perks that are
and
like,
it'll give you
I'm the this guy, you know.
it'll
because
give you
you're
view
investing so
details.
heavily in the Force.
view the details,
Four-piece
and you're
perk.
good.
But what's really cool about this is like I think this is going to be very cool at live when we like launch. But I think in like 2,
Of course.
releases or whatever, just a little bit in the future, we're going to see people go like, "Hey, remember that armor
Yeah.
that I
Mixing,
got?"
like something from 2 seasons
So
ago.
2 pieces gives Force Converter. After a final blow, with any rocket or grenade launcher, sprint for a short time to speed booster.
Yeah, and then the second piece of this
Set
is gonna be
bonuses has been
stats
needed
reward.
for Destiny.
Some of
It's
the
so
fragments are gonna
long,
be
dude.
reworked as well, to adopt
I should have
new
been in
stats
D1.
or change, right?
Yeah, so fragments still can
4 pieces, once per
adjust
activation,
your
Force
stats
Converter.
up or down,
Ah, I didn't read the
depending on
rest of it.
build. And some of these, because we've deprecated some of our perks, or stats rather, some of these are new. Like we're gonna have,
Oh,
some
plus-
of these
yeah,
will have
plus
weapon
class
stats, which
instead of,
never happened before, which just opens up new
What was
build crafting
before?
avenues. We're gonna kind of wait and see how this lands, how the dust settles
Interesting.
for all of the stat stuff before we.
So who's
go
getting
in and adjust
6
these
times
further,
100
but
stats?
Yeah, I think players have a lot of different ways to build out their stats and become the grenade master,
Legend?
the weapon master, and whatever they want to do.
So quick shout out, Dark Slifer, Childish CG, and Snivvyland for those last 2 questions. They actually asked them ahead of time. Feel free to keep dropping questions in chat.
Yeah,
We like
class
to
was
get your
resilience.
result.
Thank you.
What
the hell?
It is time to move on and let's talk about some new stuff.
Iron Banner bubbles?
Vivian, you have been very excited about a new weapon archetype that is coming with the.
Ooh,
Edge of
new
Fate.
weapon?
I sure am. For centuries, humanity has wondered, like, what would a legendary bow look like in the heavy slot? And today I have your answer.
New
We're-
heavy
for Edge of Fate,
legendary
we're building a
bow?
crossbow. This
Sammy
is-
Cat's gonna go
so
crazy.
It plays like a new archetype, but it is.
Oh, it's the
technically a bow for the
crossbow!
purposes, like it's gonna fill all your bounties, that kind of stuff. Now, so
Yo,
when
that
we
looks
went to go
sick.
make this, we knew it was a very cool fantasy, right? We want the feeling of like really drawing it back and it hitting a single target and doing a ton of damage. But we do have linear fusion rifles, right? And
That
that's
looks
the question,
sick.
like, what does this do that's different? What's the fun gameplay here? And we settled on, well, when you shoot that big heavy bolt and it hits your target, you can.
Yeah,
just
can I
go
get the
pick it
penta?
back up. So this thing theoretically is a heavy weapon with unlimited ammo. You can use the same bolt for an entire nightfall if you want. I would love to see someone do that. Go
What?
through a dungeon without ever using anything else or whatever, It's very cool.
Show the
You have to put
gameplay.
yourself in danger, you have to go grab it, but it's just such a satisfying.
Oh, I
look to
bet.
like, pull
Pidgey,
it
I
out of
bet.
Some, dead hive. Just put it in the rail, pull it back, use the same bolt to shoot someone else. It's great.
I saw.
I want it.
Last week in a PvP playtest, I saw someone run the entire map with a
Yeah.
single bolt,
Yeah.
and they just kept it alive for minutes on end. It was
That was me. I'm sorry.
I can hear the PvP mains like when you said infinite heavy ammo. They're like,
Oh, no.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta go.
You
pick
gotta
that
go
thing up.
get it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not free.
Yeah,
but
you can
it is
retrieve the bolt.
very potent.
It's pretty sick sounding, doesn't it?
In PvP, you only get the one. You gotta get the headshot.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. It ends up being like this game of like keep away, where you're like, we cannot let Taylor get near this thing. Like,
So as we're going into this activity, we'll get some gameplay footage. This is a good example of the portal system that we'll be talking about next week on.
It
July
looks like
1st. Make sure to tune
the
in.
witch thing.
But we're going to be taking some
Savathun's
content from
Spire?
just the history of Destiny, and it will be in the portal to go in and play. Power progression.
Is that not
We'll
the
be
same
talking about that
place?
Next week, so stay tuned for that. Vivian, back to the heavy crossbow though. You were talking about this being legendary, so that means
That's
range
100%
rolls,
Savathun.
even you
Oh,
had
Savathun
mentioned
Spire. There it
bolts.
is.
yes, yeah. So we had a really fun opportunity when we were making this, where we go to the talent grid, and we always want to make stuff kind of like new and different. And we got to the talent grid, and we were like, this thing does not have a magazine. We cannot put magazines on this, right? And it gave us the opportunity to like really go, what would like a different magazine plug system look like? And so what we ended up going for is like, we have bolt types, And the bolt types, instead of just being stats, they're going to alter the way the bolt actually behaves out in the world.
Oh, wow.
So we've got, one of them is like explosive bolt, where it's going to put in the target, it'll like beep, 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 and it'll just explode. Kind of like a grenade launcher.
So you can focus on what kind of bolt you want.
My personal favorite is that we have serrated bolts. I remembered to say the shipping name this time.
Oh, you can say, yeah.
used
If
to
it
be
doesn't have
tactical.
3 names, it's not real game dev.
Yeah.
I never know when things go live. I never know. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you guys know better than I do
But
the
yeah,
names.
go ahead.
But yeah, so we have serrated bolts, and you can put like the bolt in a target with serrated bolts, and you can normally draw them back out of living targets, but if you have serrated bolts, they're gonna deal damage on the exit too. And it is so satisfying to like land the final hit with the pull, and you just pull back your bolts and you get them, and they just go flying.
I'll take
It's
that
great.
back. Yeah.
That's
when you
kinda
first
cool.
brought this up, I was just like, that's so metal. Like,
Yeah.
gimme.
It's something.
Really quick.
The fact
just
you
on
can
the
keep
topic of,
grabbing it's nuts.
Ammo. There are new ammo meters. Bjorn, we were going to talk about this in the firing range, shooting range. But we actually have some live gameplay where we can see these meters working out. Can you talk us through what is this new system? How does it work? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so there's been a pretty big shakeup in the way that ammo works in the game, where in the past it wasn't really anything that you had too much control over, but now it is something that you have like a lot of control over and
Grabbing its nuts.
hooks to optimize or like make your own. And it almost like kind of works like an ability or like a super does now, where it lives in your weapon tray. You can see there below the weapons on kills and assists with anything that'll tick up. And then when you hit full, the next kill will drop you a brick of that type.
Oh, so you know when you're gonna get ammo now instead of just using ammo finders. That's kind of nice.
That you can build into to like have a lot more control. over
Double
the pace of
special, my
what you do.
beloved.
Sweet.
And like there's a bunch of armor mods that exist now.
That's actually a really cool change for ammo
pretty much
economy.
All the things that used to be finders or inventory now fit into ammo generation, which is like a new weapon stat. So
Dash button in the
players have
chat.
a lot of different ways to kind of build around that, depending on like, you know, if you have a really ammo-hungry special weapon, then you have some options now to actually make that easier to feed.
And we'll be talking about this in depth in a future Twitter blog, so stay tuned for that, especially PvP heads. I've already seen conversation from our content creator videos going out. But before we get out of combat, I do want to talk about, alongside the new weapon archetype of the crossbow, we have some new weapon frames coming to the game.
Yeah. we do.
Weapon frames, okay.
So let's start with the hand cannon.
All right, yeah. So we have the spread shot hand cannon. It's like a big, chunky, beefy hand cannon that fires shotgun pellets.
Oh, that's
very
the
close
rocket
range,
prepared
hard hitting,
pulse
two-shot
rifle that people were
PvP.
talking
I'm a
about.
little afraid of that, but you know.
Trials hand
Right,
cannon.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
Vanguard
it's
bow.
very limited. It's like a sidearm, like big punchy sidearm, but like even less range than a sidearm.
Look at all the
But, like, less
perks. What the
precision on it.
fuck?
This thing has become my baby.
Look at the
I
9
love this
perks.
thing.
It's pretty great.
Dude, look at the
kinda
9
like having,
perks.
Like a sawed-off that's
Yeah.
like a primary ammo, and it is just so good. If you
That's
play aggressive
insane.
Or you use like other
Or
abilities to hit
traits.
People,
It's
or
really
just
good
want
as like a
to
mixer in between other stuff.
Right, and that's exactly how I play. So I love this thing.
And second, so shout out to Sammy Cat, resident bow lover.
Sandy, there she is. Sammy
full
Cat mentioned
solo
right there.
dungeons, HUD off, bows only. We have a new bow frame that's going to be coming.
Bow
Yeah, so we made,
frame.
a longbow, which is like a big, heavy war bow. Even slower
Longbow
draw
hype?
precisions, but more damage, and it has intrinsic overpenetration. So if you line up a bunch of thrall and you like hip fire a full draw, it'll just go straight through all of them.
That's awesome.
I love that our damage numbers have been squished a little bit, so they actually mean something now. Because if you look
Yeah.
at how much damage this bow is doing compared to like each one of those pellets in the hand cannon.
Wonder what the meter
Like,
above the
when-
timer is.
Like in the live game where it's like I did 20,000 damage with a shot. I was like,
Yeah,
the
it's hard to
numbers-
compare.
Yeah, it
Right,
starts to be
right.
meaningless. But for me, we've just changed
gotta
so
turn the
much, and I
AC
can't overstate like how. Yeah, how much has changed and how this game is I guess evolving. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those changes are like they go hand in hand, right? Like us changing the stats around, you know, us making new builds possible. A lot of these changes are all like they're all going to kind of combine to create something new.
Yeah. Did you see that front shielded ogre?
Oh,
with
boy.
we have a new. We'll talk about this next week.
Yeah.
But the new Banes are incredible. I'm very excited for.
Oh
players.
God, more
Yeah,
Banes.
play with.
New banes, new modifiers, all that kind of stuff. And then the final weapon we got on tap is going to be a special weapon, another burst
There's the
shoots
pulse.
explosives.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So I know a lot of people are big fans of rocket-assisted sidearms. Now we have a rocket
Device up a touch.
pulse rifle. So that fits a similar role, but a little bit different. It's a little more ammo.
It's pretty
hungry
loud right there.
than the sidearms. Got a bit more range and hits a bit harder. So it kind of fits in between like a fusion rifle and a sniper rifle. Also kind of fires a little bit differently than pulse rifles, which is interesting, just because like all of our pulse rifles have like different burst delay, but when you're firing each pulse, they all have like the same rate of fire. So this, instead of being like the brr, it's like a bop bop bop. So it feels heavier and it's firing these like big, slower projectiles. So it feels chunkier.
Thank you for doing a Dave Samuel
Yes.
impression there.
I aspire to greatness.
Yeah.
This thing is like real cool. It's real heavy, but it's also like, you know, like we said, it's like pretty ammo hungry. One of the cool things about 900 is like we have the ammo stat. You know, you can build into that. You can eliminate that downside, and now you can see it working.
Yeah, same for the longbow too. Like there were some perks on the random rolls that you can go in, lessen the draw time. Like sure, it's still going to be a little bit slow fiery, heavy hitting, but there's a bunch of ways that you can build craft and tune these things to feel good for your playstyle.
Like you have like one for all or other things that care about hitting multiple targets.
Yeah, right. So as we're going through this transition, we actually have a bunch more to cover, and gear tiering has been top of mind for a lot of players ever since our reveal stream. So Eric, I'd love to dive in and just revisit what's the high-level vision statement for gear tiering and how we're getting players reinvested in some of that.
Yeah, so gear tiering enables players to look at a piece of gear at a glance and like understand how powerful it is. So you can see those kind of 5 icons or 5 little dots there. This is a 5th tier armor piece we're looking at. And the stat package or the stat pool that each piece gives is going to depend on the tier.
That's awesome. There's set
tier 1
stats for
is gonna
tiers. That's
drop
good.
Between 52 and 57 stat totals. And then at tier 5, you are guaranteed 75 stats plus stat tuning, which lets you kind of add some.
Yeah, shout out to, there were a bunch of folks that were asking, what are stat bands? Because in the game right now, it's what is low to a given player. Like 62 feels low, but an actual definition is like 58 or lower.
Yeah.
In the game now, we have UI that tells you exactly what are the stat bands for each of the tiers, so you know what you're looking for as you're trying to build a 200 or 150 or whatever you're looking for.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I love that we did this because this is the most common question I get in my clan that I answer, and I love that you can just go see it now.
Yeah, having information in a game is great. I think the biggest thing about this is that because the bands are a lot narrower, you have a much better expectation of what you're getting like before you even start the activity. So, like I know a lot of people like you go into a master dungeon to farm some artifice armor, and you don't know if you're going to get like 55 or 70. Yeah, it's like an extremely wide range, but like that takes a lot of time and effort to get through. So now it's just like you're going into like the toppest end difficulty thing to get tier 5s. You know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
and
it's significantly more likely that when you get your drop, it's going to be something valuable. It might not be valuable to your exact build, but it will be valuable. It'll be the stats total that you want.
Yeah, Eric?
Yeah, and with the new portal system, which we'll talk about next week, you're going to have a score goal that you want to hit to get that exact armor piece, and it's like more targeted farming or more targeted. You know, if I want to chase a certain thing, like I know what I have to do to get it, and when it drops, I know what it's going to give me as far as the total value, right?
Yeah.
And it's just much more clear and exciting. So.
And oh, go ahead.
I really like, we're mousing over here, the armor archetype. We now like display what things are going to be high on it and what things are going to be low. And they're like a little further apart where things are going to be spikier now. And so like, if you want to really max out stats, you can just look for that, emblem. You'll know what your armor is kind of like going to be good at. And it's
you can see that like at your main inventory level too. So you're just like mousing over like, oh, I just got a bunch of drops. What did I get? Cool. Is it gunner? Is it grenadier?
Right.
Like, what is the thing that I want? You can use that as like a quick reference rather than needing to go all the way into inspection and see like the exact stats.
And the last detail on tier 5 for armor, we mentioned this in the reveal stream, but you can get to 11 energy for your armor. So it helps with build crafting.
No
You can
longer
get more of
10,
those
it's 11
armor
now.
mods slotted and that kind of stuff.
It goes to 11 now.
Yeah, right.
Crank it.
It
So
does
switching
better,
over to
yeah.
weapons, though, I would love to. We have some examples of tier 1, tier 3, and tier 5 weapons to show what is that progression looking like.
Yeah, similarly, when a weapon drops, I'm able to just glance at it and be like, oh, tier 1 weapon, it's going to have base stats, it's going to have a limited perk pool there. But then you can see at tier 3, we now have 2 enhanced traits. We have some of our columns are going to have more perk options in them. And then tier 5.
That's why they said tier 3 are going to be our holofoils,
Yep,
because
so
they
this
already
is tier
have
3, and then tier
2 sets of
5
perks.
is going to have even more. Like look at the options
Yeah.
here, and so
I guess
much
tier 5 will have
enhancement,
6.
And
Yeah,
we
tier
have
4 you get the enhanced weapon mods too.
right.
Yeah, kind of like how armor is like you have much.
So our
better
I wonder if our 6 trait
understanding
adept
of, like,
shinies
when
are
I'm starting an
5 tier.
activity, what is the expectation of the things I'm getting? This like the multi perk and the enhanced perks kind of work for that too. So the odds of you getting that like specific god roll or multi god roll, if you're looking for like the combo PvP PvE weapon,
Yeah, we're
are a
adding-
lot higher than like in past activities where you're just getting okay, I'm gonna get 1 adept with 1 trait in each column.
Yeah, and we're adding a lot of depth. Like as we were hovering over those enhanced perks, they have additional things that they can do, whether it be stats or power for the perk. We're putting all of these details into the game so people know as they're getting into this depth, they can hover over these things, understand all the different stats. We'll, of course, have blog components. We'll have some guides that our players make, our creators make. We'll blast those out. But we're hoping to bring more of these sorts of things into the game to make it easier to understand. So,
Yeah, that said, if you have a great weapon drop that, dropped this season or 5 seasons ago, if it's a good roll, it's a good roll. Like it's, just because it doesn't necessarily adhere to the tier system doesn't mean it is not equal or greater value in some
yeah, there was this really funny reference that Mactix made, one of our creators, where he had this beautiful giant sword, and he's like, this is what I got today, and it has perfect rolls for a rocket launcher, et cetera, and here's my new tier 1 weapon that doesn't really have good perks. Like, what are you going to use?
Yeah.
So to answer the question, Shadow on Blue Sky was asking, are my weapons that I have right now or armor, like, is that going to be viable in high-end content? And the answer is, of course. There are going to be a couple things in here that add incentive to try out new things, but Vivian, you had kind of framed it as a cherry on top, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also like a way to, in the past, sometimes like the best way to get your path to power was like to do a lot of something. But now if you like do really hard activities as well, we're also just kind of rewarding you for the time there.
Yeah. So right at the
Talk
9.
about
go
feature
ahead.
gear stuff in relation to this.
Yeah, we will in a second, but I just wanted to touch on right at the 9. Some folks were asking, like, what do these equate to in the tier system? And when you get an adept right at the 9 weapon, both of your columns are enhanced, all that kind of stuff. Like, it looks like a tier 3. It's going to feel like a tier 3 for a while. So there is a good handshake as you're going into Edge of Fate. But yeah, the last thing for tier 5 gear, I would like to show the cosmetic treatment that we've been doing. We showed this in the reveal stream, but tier 5s have an awesome new shader treatment and also kill effects.
Yeah, so these basically on the weapons, they'll come with like a fancy shader on it, and then something almost kind of similar to what we do with Sweaty Confetti, but now it's like a specific slot where it gets a custom kill effect that only comes on the tier 5 variant.
Yeah, and you can see with gear tiering, it's kind of learning a bunch of lessons through the years of Destiny. Like, kill effects are really cool. Players like this. Now we have a new slot for it. Players really like holofoils as a chase in the game right now, and now we have tier 5.
So it's gonna be like
sort of a holofoil
like
style
a,
treatment for it. So
Halo,
it's been
where you
really
cool
cool to watch
shoot
y'all develop this
headshots
over
and get
time.
confetti to
But,
pop out.
to your
It's kind of
point,
like that.
This actually is a good segue
It'll be
into
like
the next
an
section,
animation, how the gun
where we're talking
fires.
about new and featured gear and our artifact. So, Eric, if you want to take the stage, what is new or featured gear?
Yeah, so our new gear, when we drop new weapons and armor for a season or for a release, that is going to get a bonus. It's going to be a little bit
that a
stronger
harpy?
than your other options. So on the armor side, you are going to get a damage resistance bonus per piece you have equipped, and that is, it kind of scales by gear tier. So if I have 5 tier 1 armor pieces, I'm going to have 5% damage resistance against everything.
Yeah, that's a harpy. What the hell?
But if I have 5 tier 5 gear pieces, I'm going to have 15% damage versus everything. So I guess, yeah. So it is something that allows me to have a little bit of an edge. You know, it's a very small amount. It's a min-max sort of situation where if I wanted to wear stuff that is not in the new gear pool, like I am not at a huge detriment.
Right.
But
Something that gives you like that little bit of edge to like inch out into like the highest tier stuff when you like really need just a little bit more health or a little bit more damage.
Yeah, speaking of damage, so you can see that the max is actually 10%. This is a clarification. We invited some folks into the studio to look through all of this. The original number was 15%. It's actually 10% on your additional damage when you get all your tier 5 weapons equipped. So again, cherry on top, where it kind of gives you that edge. And also it gives you a way, kind of like in earlier releases where you walk out into the tower and you're wearing all your raid gear. You're kind of like peacocking, as y'all have framed it. And now it's, oh, hey, I have all tier 5 gear. This shows like, not only have I mastered this content, but I've earned a bunch of really cool stuff, gotten all the gear I want, and now I can carry my team through. So, when it comes to the new gear as well, what's the way that you identify that as a player?
yeah, so if you see that little kind of teal icon in the top left corner of the armor piece, that is going to that's going to tell me that it is in the new gear pool. So it's not only gear from this season or release, but it is also gear. It's like a collection of exotic pieces as well.
Yeah,
so,
if we hop into the collections really quick, there's actually a new section that's going to show, here's our featured gear. So if you have some things from previous releases, those are going to be a part of the build crafting as well.
Correct.
A note for any newer players or returning players, some of these things are actually like, you can go to Xur, try to grab those. You can go into Rite of the Nine. Emissary is going to have a few things like Graviton Lance. That's a great thing to pick up before this new release starts, so then you have a little bit of an edge going in.
Yeah.
Edge, get it?
If y'all
Edge of
screenshot
Fate.
this, you can start hunting this stuff down.
The Emissary had the Polaris Lance. Should I get
We'll
it?
have follow-up blogs.
Oh,
where
she
we're
has
gonna
it
go
now?
Line by line. I understand, like, this stream has a lot
I'd
of
get
data. It has a lot of
Graviton. Graviton
numbers,
Lance
that kind of
is
stuff.
really
Big
good.
lists of gear. We'll have a full bulleted list, not just in TWIDs, but in patch notes as we keep going. So I think with that, we can go into the artifact as well.
Oh, is the update out now?
Cool.
Yeah, so the artifact this time around, we're going and we're exploring Kepler. So
What up,
kind
Dave?
of going with that theme is we wanted this to be kind of like, scout the
Oh,
wild
anti-barrier, scout and pulse.
So to that end, it's
Yep.
it's
Nice.
kind of
Unstoppable
a little
sidearm.
longer range
Unstoppable
weapon-wise
sniper.
than some of our recent artifacts.
Overload
One of the
shotgun,
other,
overload rapid
themes that
fire.
we wanted to get was like, this is gonna be
Yeah,
like
overload,
me and my fire
overload
team.
SMG and auto.
So if you're scouting
Unstoppable
solo, we have
hand
stuff for solo. If you're scouting as a
Ooh,
group, we
shoulder
have
to
stuff as a
shoulder
group.
seems good.
Then lastly, it's like we made this artifact like a little more weapons
You get damage
focused than we maybe normally
resistance
do,
if you
because we
sustain
wanted to kinda,
precision
like,
damage.
Highlight that kind of like the Guardian's kit, kind of down
Oh,
to
while
earth,
near two
kinda
or more
like,
allies.
grit thing. Some of my favorite perks in these
Yo,
are
artifact is a cell phone
in
holder.
the fifth column. There's that first one is Radiant Shrapnel. And this is gonna add like an additive shrapnel burst when you're killing guys when they're radiant, or when you're radiant, or they are scorched. And I
Float
actually
soul
really
in the
like
chat.
that, like we pay out scorched a little, because like sometimes you can't quite get that ignition,
So
And
that's going to pair really well with the Warlock exotic coming out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You could scorch a bunch of guys, and then you can cause them to alt burst. It's very cool. The fourth one in this column
That'd be good for
also is a
Titan,
favorite of
too.
mine. It's Tangled Web, and this is going to suspend everyone when you generate a tangle via combat. And normally we do that effect, we reserve that effect for breaking the tangle, right? And now it's like on creation, and it leads to a very fun situation where you can just kind of walk up and take it, and you're like, thank you guys, I'll be back.
Yes, sir. Outbreak's back, baby.
They can't do
Outbreak,
anything, and it kind of gets you there faster. if you're
fucking
not using,
Graviton
like,
Lance.
grenade or something.
Pulse is
Works
gonna be
really
so
well with the
good, dude.
artifact.
It also works really well with the Hunter Exotic. It's lots of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, so there's a question from V Ferrer sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asking, are there going to be more seasonal mods? And with the artifact, you can see next major update, there's going to be another row, as people know. With the featured gear, there's also going to be added exotics to that pool. And Bjorn, I believe we are also making some new seasonal mods that'll be released over time, correct?
Yeah, kind of the same way that we did last season, where we had the Taken theme set of weapon mods.
Episode,
We'll have the
not
same thing
season.
for this release's theme. that you can.
It really,
you can find
dude.
those
I
out
loved
as they
using
go.
Outbreak
Perfect.
Perfected
All right.
on barriers,
Well,
dude. It was so
wow.
nice.
I believe we are at the end of the stream.
No.
Thank you so much for joining us on the couch. Everybody out there, thank
I was
you so much
expecting
for
a
joining
trailer
us
or something.
during this live stream to see what we have to offer. We do have another live stream next Tuesday, July 1st,
Oh.
same time, same place, different cast. Sorry, I'll invite you back soon. But we're going to be talking Portal Power Progression. So what are you playing? How are you earning things? How are you getting up to these tier 5s? And also, how are you customizing your experience in the Portal with new Banes,
All right.
new modifiers, all that kind of stuff.
Next week, guys.
Just because this is information heavy, as
1
I mentioned,
p.m.
we do have a slate of blog content that'll be coming live. We'll have a recap on Thursday. We have a standalone next Wednesday that'll talk a little bit more about gear tiering. Next Thursday, we'll also have another recap for that stream and additional sandbox information. And then we keep marching into launch with more patch note previews, gear previews, all that kind of stuff. So outside of the full suite of gear you'll be earning on Kepler, bunch of stuff to discover. So thank you so much again for joining. This has been a fun stream. And as we leave, we're going to toss you over to our good friend Fallout. He's going to be talking through a bunch of what we said today. He
All
was
right,
one of the
folks,
creators
that's
that we
it.
invited to
I hope
Bungie
you
with
guys all
hands-on
got
so
your
he can explain
emblems.
some things, and we'll be
I'll
collecting
get on
questions
Destiny for a
throughout
few
the rest of the
minutes,
day to
but
answer in the Twitch.
I'm not gonna
Thanks
be
so
on
much
too
for
much.
joining, and we'll see you next time.
Until later. All right, everybody, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the showcase tomorrow. Next week, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Come back for the part 2. Thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a like if you're watching this on YouTube and comment one thing you're excited for you've seen so far. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.